Hi everyone, welcome to the Love Oz YA April releases wrap up. My name is Bianca Breen. I'm joined by Dayna Smith, and we're so excited to tell you a little bit about the wonderful Love Oz YA books that have just come out recently.
Who else has been swimming in chocolate and eating
Oh my God,
all
yes.
the books over Easter? That's been me.
I'm so glad that you can't see like the massive thing of Easter eggs beside me. Right, so we had
Fueled by chocolate.
quite a few released at the beginning of the month. The first one is We Who Hunt the Holo by Kate Murray. It follows a girl named Priscilla who comes from a long line of monster hunting holo warriors. But Priscilla doesn't quite feel good enough, so she tries an experiment to gain more power and it goes horribly wrong. Even if you're not a huge fan of fantasy, I think you'll enjoy this one because it's really about the characters and all of them are so fantastic, and it has some really wholesome, cozy family vibes.
And I have to say, Bianca, watching your interview with Kate, like that's me, family me. I'm much more of a contemporary person, and even I was going, oh, that sounds really good. Because I love character-driven narratives, so I was
Exactly.
Like, yep.
It
so
didn't feel.
You swayed me.
Oh, I'm so glad. So it didn't feel like in-your-face fantasy, like there were fantasy elements, but yeah, it really felt like it was completely about the characters and there's some monsters in there too.
Yeah, and sort of not what I was expecting from the cover either. Like I looked at that cover and I thought, oh, that looks a bit scary. Like Dayna's scarometer is quite low compared to other people. But yeah, seeing your interview, I was like, yeah, this is really good. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's a dark cover. Do not let that put you off.
Yeah. It will be okay for scaredy cats like me.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, ironically, on the topic of sugar and chocolate, I read Sugar by Carly Nugent. It was released very early in the month. We're right on the cusp of March, April. And it is about a girl called Persephone, and she's angry at her life, and which she's been diagnosed with diabetes, so her life really revolves around like finger prick tests, carbohydrate counts, insulin injections, figuring out whether she's within this range of numbers that she needs to be okay. And she's angry with her mom. She's angry with herself for stuff that's happened in the past. She's also grieving the loss of her dad. And then she's on one of her many walks through the bush with her dog Bernice, which is just the most fantastic name for a dog ever. She comes across the body of a woman that she doesn't know, and it's on this bush track that she often goes on. And it sort of starts her thinking about, she feels this strong connection with this woman, and really wants to solve this mystery of why did she die? What did she do that she deserved to die, kind of thing. Persephone thinks a lot about fate and destiny, and has this really strong beliefs about her name. Her name means bringer of destruction, and she sort of has this view that things that have happened to her is because it's her fault. Somehow she's a bad person. So it's a lot about working through that stuff. There's a lot of anger in there. So swear warning, if you do not like swearing in books, maybe avoid this one.
But otherwise, justified though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely is justified. And it does really make sense. And when I interviewed Carly, we talked a lot about sort of, because it is very much a character-driven narrative, just my favorite type of book, and how she just finds this voice and it just sort of pours out, and a lot of the stuff that perhaps she doesn't necessarily think was going to happen, but it just felt right because of Persephone and this character, that her voice just came out. So yes, the swearing absolutely fits in with Persephone, this character, and just what's happened to her in her life. Yeah.
I'm really excited because it sounds like it just has so much going into it as well. Almost like, discovering herself a murder mystery maybe, and even just getting to know a bit more about diabetes. I don't know anything about it. I feel like maybe you don't unless you have it or someone you know has it. So I'm hoping that we learn a lot.
Absolutely. It was one of the bonuses for me in reading it too, because I don't know that many people with diabetes. And I did remember in high school knowing this girl who had it. And just, it gave me a whole new insight into what she was going through with just trying to, manage all the normal teenage stuff, and then having to also constantly monitor herself and insulin levels and think about what she was eating and all of that sort of stuff. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that this one, I would definitely say will be a strong contender in next year's CBCA, if I can call that too, because there is a lot of layers. There's a lot of stuff to discuss in there about grief and about, I don't know, destiny and fate and magical thinking and how we cope with stuff that's happening to us in our lives. There's a lot of decisions that the adults are making that then impact on the teenagers in the book. Just lots and lots of layers.
Absolutely, and all of them just draw me to the book. So I'm really excited for that one. And speaking of a lot going on, murder mystery perhaps, we also had Tracks of the Missing come out early April. It's by Carl Merrison and Hekia Hustler. So old mate Mr. Henry, who has lived in town for a long time, has been found murdered. He had been selling grog on the black market for years. And to add to these worries, the year 12s who are on camp are now missing. And the police think there is a link about the missing students and the murder. So this one sounds so suspenseful. It's a thriller, obviously, set in the Australian outback and by 2 First Nations authors. So I think it's going to be a really good one. It's been on my radar for a long time. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, mine too. I'm in those two minds where I'm like, oh, it could be a bit scary, but I also really want to read it. So we'll see which one overrides the other. But no, it looks really, really good. And I don't know, the whole idea of missing students also harks back to a bit like Tomorrow When the War Began kind of thing. So I'm interested to see what it's like. But should be good.
Yeah, and I love that we both have very low fear factors, but at least when you're reading, like, you kind of have control over what you can imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the good things that I think about reading as opposed to watching, is just it can only be as bad as you can imagine it to be. So
and
I definitely know that one.
Sorry, go.
I just remember reading Lord of the Rings when I was like in early high school, and then seeing the movies, and it was like, yeah, that's not what the elves look like in my head. Like, I was picturing very much Magic Faraway Tree elves, like little elves.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the problems of a bookworm for sure.
Yes, and that movie with all those horrible orcs came out. It's very scary.
But I'm definitely finding myself more and more drawn to stories set, in the middle of Australia, just the isolated outback, especially thrillers. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting one, and I can't wait to find out what happens in it.
Yeah, it sort of does give you a chance to explore Australia, explore parts of the country that you haven't been to. I haven't spent a lot of time in the outback, so it's definitely interesting to get that little insight and window into another world, which is very cool. And I definitely think there needs to be more books set in the outback, because it's something that we can all benefit from, reading a bit more about that place that's definitely in the heart of Australia.
Definitely.
And I think the last book that's coming out this month is Libby Lawrence is Good at Pretending, and I think that's going to be the polar opposite of Tracks of the Missing.
Yeah, so just to lighten the mood a little bit.
End on a high note. So that one is set at a university in the theatre department, and it's all about how Libby is rehearsing for her role in Much Ado About Nothing and trying to deal with first times, awkwardness, and friendships in early adulthood. And now, personally, I really, really love that YA that's set in like the first year after high school finishes, or the summer after high school finishes.
Yeah, Libby's 19, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So that one should be really, really good. And that one is, I'm just trying to remember, it is Jodie McAllister. So
yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. I think that should be really good.
Yeah, it's been sort of compared to, because of its Shakespeare link and being a rom-com, that if you like Clueless and 10 Things I Hate About You, I think it's got those kinds of vibes. And Jodie McAllister is our like Australian queen of romance. So I'm really excited to see what she's brought out with this one.
It should be good. It should be good. Yeah, so it's a great month for reading. Definitely worthy of getting out the Easter eggs and sitting down and reading. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, and I'm excited for every single one of these. I feel like this year has been so great for Lovers Way releases. I haven't been disappointed by any of them yet.
No, I've definitely been on a very good reading jag with lots of great YA.
Absolutely. And speaking of loving Australian YA, our campaign is still ongoing. So we are now a registered charity. It's very exciting. And we're raising funds for a new website just to improve the interface, make it easier for anyone who loves Australian YA, whether you're a teacher, librarian, a reader or a writer. So we would really appreciate your help donating to the campaign, and thank you so much to everyone who has already donated. And that's it from us.
There's a lot of great content on that website, and we're so excited to make it just that much more user-friendly for everyone to find, to actually get their hands on some of those great resources. I mean, we love putting together things like, you know, the posters of the different types of YA. So this month we brought out the crime and mystery poster, and so being able to find those resources more easily on the website will be fantastic.
Exactly.
When we get the next one, and I think we're over 3,000 now.
Yes,
is that
we are about 65% of our goal, I think. So we're incredibly grateful and so excited that any tiny amount helps, and we'll link the campaign in the description below. So it's all very, very exciting.
Great help.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's everything. Yeah. So I hope that you've found something that you might want to read this month. And we would love to know
something for everyone.
Yeah, we'd love to know your thoughts if you want to reach out on social media. But until then, we'll see you around. Thank you so much.
Bye everyone.